It's a brand new season for World of Photography, and you'll want to be here in the coming weeks for fascinating, informative stories and practical advice. We'll be shooting with Off-Road America photographer Tom Roslin in the California desert.
All right.
Watching pro Len Kamsler create a multiple image portrait.
Right.
Covering Mike Keller on assignment for Women's World magazine.
Good. A little to the right. That's it, right there. Good.
Following the official photographer for the New York Islanders. Shooting at the San Diego Zoo with Ron Garrison. Photographing exotic cars with Cindy Lewis.
You can see that there's just one spot on the whole side of this car that's possible to hide ourselves in.
And much, much more. Be back here every week, on location, on assignment, on World of Photography. Next week, meet the San Diego Zoo's Ron Garrison, possibly the only photographer who's ever had to wait 5 years for the right expression from a gorilla in the world of photography.
Good.
One person shooting this hockey game has his camera radioed into super strobes in the ceiling. Bruce Bennett's amazing brand of sports photography on the next World of Photography. Photographer Bruce Bennett crawls through the catwalks high above the arena hours before the hockey starts. We'll show you why. And we'll show you how some great photographs are made after they're taken. Plus, we'll introduce you to the photographer who shoots legends, Terry O'Neill. World of Photography, brought to you in part by Olympus, makers of fine 35mm cameras, video equipment, and other precision products. Olympus, when you have more to say than just smile. And by KISS 1 Hour Photo, with over 4,600 independent locations throughout America. KISS 1 Hour Photo, the quality photo processor. And by Kodak and the family of Kodacolor VR films. Kodak Film, because time goes by. Photographer Bruce Bennett arrives at the Nassau Coliseum hours before the action starts. High on the narrow catwalks crisscrossing the arena's dome, his day begins. As official team photographer for the New York Islanders, this lofty perch is familiar turf for Bennett and his assistant, who photograph over 150 games per year.
All right.
Paradoxically, it is up here, as far away from the action as you can get, wherein lies the secret of great hockey photographs.
The secret is that we're using high-speed flash units, 2,400 watt-second flash units that are situated 135 feet over the ice in the catwalks. And on any night that the Islanders play, I'll be using 2 of those units, and an assistant down at the other end of the ice will be using 2 units down there. This will allow me to freeze the action at 2/50th of a second, which is the sync speed on the camera, and for most of the ice will give me f4, which is a nice setting to shoot hockey for.
Most people who shoot 35mm mount a flash right on their camera. But that's not powerful enough to throw light far enough to stop the action in a hockey game. The answer, for most photographers, is to avoid flash and use a high-speed film and available light. But Bruce wants to shoot the slower speed, more colorful Kodachrome 64, so he sets up his large, heavy remote strobe units in the only place he can, high up and far from the action. Carefully aimed, these units emit a tremendously powerful and focused blast of light hundreds of times brighter than any camera-mountable flash. And this lets Bruce shoot the beautiful, action-stopping, color-saturated shots, even with the slow-speed, fine-grained Kodachrome 64 film.
4.02.
Why don't you do one more right in front of the crease?
Consistent meter readings of about f4 in all locations tell Bruce that the strobes are lighting a portion of the ice evenly.
All right. Okay.
4.04. I can't believe we could get this lucky on the first shot here.
In his capacity as official photographer for the Islanders, Bruce also assigns camera positions to the other photographers who will be covering the game.
I meet with the photographers approximately 1 hour before the game, and at that time we go over what specific assignments someone might have and what access they'll need. Occasionally a photographer will need to get by the bench to shoot a coach, or will need an upstairs position, and if there's any way for us to accommodate them, then we can help service the local media. There'll be Newsday in that corner. Brian Winkler is going to be in that corner. New York Times will put you in there for one period. Your average fan can't use strobe units like I have, but then again, I shot the first 9 years of my career without them. So the average fan can call up a team's public relations department or an arena and find out what kind of lighting there is in each specific rink. It might be mercury vapor or carbon arc or a mixture of tungsten or any number of things. Most arenas, especially modern arenas, are equipped with lights that will give you the equivalent of daylight lighting. So the film that you would use would be, let's say, an Ektachrome 400 film. Some arenas, such as Madison Square Garden and the Philadelphia Spectrum, they're equipped with tungsten lighting. So you'd use a high-speed Ektachrome tungsten film. The problem that a lot of people have when they start shooting hockey is that they constantly underexpose. I find that light readings anywhere near the ice are very deceiving. And if you can't go up close enough to a player to take a reading off a neutral red jersey or a neutral blue jersey, then the thing to do is to take an overall reading and half the exposure. The best way that fans can compensate for this problem with the white ice would be to half the ASA of the film. So if you're shooting with an ASA 400 film, you cut it in half and you set your meter for ASA 200. And what that will do is fully compensate for the bright white ice.
While other photographers worry about low available light, Bruce's camera triggers his radio transmitter, and the receiver high above flashes the strobes in the catwalks.
My camera is hooked up to the strobe units in the ceiling using a wireless remote unit. With that, the second that I hit the button on the camera, the strobes fire. It allows me to shoot at 2/50th of a second, which is the sync speed on the camera, and gives me roughly f4 on most of the ice surface.
From the blur and chaos of the fast-moving world of pro hockey, Bruce Bennett freezes action portraits, memorable, colorful insights that capture the very heart of the NHL.